Happy Independence Day, patriots. Yes, I know patriotism and nationalism are dirty words these days to the globalist left, and anti-Americanism is currently the dominant ethos in our culture, which has been captured by the cultural Marxists. But those people are on the wrong side of history, because we're taking our country back and making it great again. Some joy-killing environmentalist wrote a New York Times opinion piece this last week about doing your part this July 4th to save the planet, including not eating meat or setting off fireworks. But of course, these eco-hysterics in the New York Times don't really care about the planet. Their agenda is about dismantling capitalism, subverting American power and prosperity, and eradicating our love of country. Totalitarians like this, who not only hold the cultural power today, but also the reins of political power under the illegitimate Biden administration, these totalitarians despise the hard-won freedoms that our nation wrested from England in the first American Revolution and has spent 248 years defending and enlarging. They worship big government power. They hate small government freedom lovers like you and I. They won't stop pushing their agenda until they have crushed all opposition and control every aspect of your life, including what you can say or think or own. And they truly believe you'll be grateful for it. Think about the slogan of the globalist elites of the Davos crowd and the World Economic Forum. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The truth is, you'll own nothing and they'll be happy, because that's always the way it is under a collectivist regime. Those at the top live like kings and everyone else lives like serfs. This Independence Day, remember this. Our founding fathers put everything on the line to cast off a distant authority imposing punitive taxation without representation. Today, an oppressive authority occupies Washington, D.C., and aims to assert a degree of control over its subjects like King George never in his wildest dreams could have imagined in his day. Today's bloated, illegitimate government is in the process of suppressing your freedom of speech. It threatens your Second Amendment rights. It wants to dissolve the very meaning of the privilege of citizenship. It even wants to eliminate car ownership and confine you in strictly controlled, so-called 15-minute cities. It wants to eliminate parental rights. Indeed, parents who push back against the indoctrination of their children are investigated as domestic terrorists by a deep state law enforcement weaponized by the regime against its own people. This government has even begun rounding up and imprisoning political opponents, from Steve Bannon to the J6 innocents who are smeared as insurrectionists. And they would imprison Donald Trump himself, their biggest threat, if they could. And when I say government, I'm not talking about just the Democrats. Far too many Republican leaders are complicit in or too feckless to oppose the globalist big government agenda. I would go so far as to say that on this Independence Day, in significant ways, we are less independent than we were prior to 1776. I would go so far as to say that maybe it's time for a second American Revolution. And let me hasten to add, for the benefit of Homeland Security and the NSA, by revolution, I'm speaking purely metaphorically. I'm certainly not calling for the kind of violent, destructive insurrection that Marxist revolutionaries like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and pro-Hamas activists have been calling for and acting on over the last several years. I'm calling for the peaceful, legal overthrow of the systemic neo-Marxist ideology that is deeply entrenched in our cultural and political structures. In fact, that process has already begun, and I believe our side has the momentum now, and the regime and its ideological supporters are panicking. But we can't afford to get complacent or ease up on the pressure. So this 4th of July, enjoy your grilled meat and bombs bursting in air. Honor the freedom fighters who died for our liberty. And tomorrow, get back to the patriotic work of fighting to preserve our freedoms in the Second American Revolution. Be seeing you.